Alright, homesteaders, as you can see, it's about 31 degrees out, about 75% humidity, and as you see, it's still snowing like crazy out there. It's a really fine dust, but it's super wet. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you. Well, here's Mickey, so you can see Mickey first. He's laying here being a lazy butts all day. But I'm going to teach you guys how I make my vegetable soup on nice winter days. And as a prepper, if you stock up on canned goods like I do, then this is an easy way to help rotate your stock. So basically what we have here is we have a can of corn, a can of green beans, a can of carrots, a can of peas, a can of diced tomatoes, 2 different types of spaghetti sauce. I use the 4 cheese and the garlic and herb. Some olive oil, basil. We have Jamaican allspice, some bay leaves, whole black peppercorn, salt and pepper. We're going to be using 2 hamburger patties, some garlic, some onions, and some potatoes. I'll be back shortly to show you how it works. Alright, so for my first step, I put about a cup of water inside the stock pot, and then I go ahead and take the 2 hamburgers. I'll put them in there. I'll cook the meat down till it browns a little bit, and then I'll start adding some more ingredients. Alright, so while the hamburgers were cooking and browning up, I went ahead, I diced up the 2 potatoes, as you can see there. And I went ahead and opened the corn, the green beans, the carrots, and the peas. Drained all the liquid out. And then opened up the diced tomatoes and opened up the 2 things of spaghetti sauce. So what we're going to do now that the hamburgers are chopped up brown, we're going to go ahead and add both the spaghetti sauces. And then, like I said, with each can, I'll go ahead and fill it up with water. And then dump a can of water from each can in. Also, after doing the spaghetti sauce, you want to go ahead and get your diced potatoes into the pot. Then, like I said, we're going to add the water. Let the potatoes boil for a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead, chop up the onions, chop up the garlic, and we're at them in approximately 5 to 6 minutes. Alright, I got the onion chopped up and the garlic diced. I use 2 cloves that I do a rough chop on the garlic. And then I just cut the onion in half and cut it really thin. And it will boil with the potatoes once it gets up to boil. And I'll let this sit for probably about an hour before I start adding more ingredients. Be back shortly. Okay, I made a mistake in my last video. Once you add the onions and the garlic in, you want to stir it up and you want to let it simmer on low for an hour, not on a boil for an hour. I don't edit my videos, so I wanted to correct that. So it's been an hour. The onions are in there. The garlic's in there. 2 cans of spaghetti sauce. Cup of water. 2 cans of water. The 2 hamburgers. And the 2 potatoes. So now we're going to go ahead, add the other vegetables. So we got our can of corn. Can of green beans. Our can of carrots. Our can of peas. Can of diced tomatoes. then you want to go ahead and stir all the ingredients up and get everything well mixed. Then we start adding the other ingredients. We're going to do a little bit of olive oil, not much, because after doing the 2 hamburgers, there's fats and oils from the beef in there. So we're just going to do a splash of oil. And then next is basil. And you can put as much or as little or change it up, do whatever type of seasoning you want to do on yours. I just know what I like in my flavor. Then I add Jamaican allspice. I add that because when the seeds or whatever soften up and you bite into one, they have a unique flavor. So it's something different in the soup. Then the next thing is going to be bay leaves. And I add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bay leaves. And then the whole black peppercorn I just sprinkle in, because it's always nice to bite into those and have a little bit of spice. And then my salt. And my ground pepper. And you go ahead, stir all the ingredients up again. Mix everything in well. And then, due to the fact that I like my soup a little bit thicker, I never put a cover on my soup, except when it goes into the fridge. So what I'll do now is I'll let this go ahead, and it will continue to simmer on low heat for about another 2 hours, which should take us to about 6 o'clock tonight, just in time for dinner. Here we go. It's been another 2 hours. It's just after 6 o'clock. We're going to get the soup all stirred up. I'm going to go ahead and cut the heat off. And I'll tell you, if you haven't used Jamaican allspice before, it's got such a pleasant aroma. I don't know exactly how to describe it, but it smells amazing. So knowing that I've done this soup a bunch of times, I'm not going to taste test it, because I already know that the spices and herbs I put in, I do about the same every time. So I don't have that problem. So let's go ahead and get a ladle. Get a bowl. And let's go ahead and dive in. And with that, put the spoon in and go enjoy. Have a good night. Live happy, live free. That's the only way to be.